Advajan Holdings proudly presents Warwick Radio with 5-decade fight trainer, Coach James Gogi.
Guys, welcome. Happy Sunday to all of you guys. And I tell you what, right now, excuse me, I'm on cloud nine, guys. Not only am I going to go see a show with Mr. Tommy Emmanuel with my son immediately following the show, but guys, boy, the 49ers just pulled off a huge victory for the Cowboys. Yes, I said it. Setting up a big, division leading game next Sunday between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Can't wait. But guys, right now we're here to talk about some boxing and to get his thoughts on last night's fight card from Houston, Texas. Guys, it's a real treat to visit with the boxing savant, the incomparable James Gogi. James, how you doing, sir?
Hey, Joe, I'm doing good. That boxing card last night was there. It was nothing spectacular about that whole card from top to bottom. It was very underwhelming. And that Ryan Garcia, it's nothing to get excited about, all right?
Well, I tell you what, and it would be okay if he were still selling out 15, 16,000, filling up the Toyota Center. But from what I was told, that place was about half filled only, around like 9.5, 10,000 people in a 17,000 seat venue.
Yeah, but how many tickets were sold? All right, fuck all that. I don't believe all that shit all the time. How many tickets were sold and how many were given away?
That's it. We'll find that out on Monday, guys, when I talk to the commission, because we've got a big event with them. You know what? And things didn't start off well during fight week, Coach. Did you get to catch any of that? With B-Hop saying, well, basically, look, I got the skinny on it, guys. And Bernard Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya, they were disappointed with ticket sales. And what have you always told us, Gogi, about staging fight cards in December?
They're the worst. I didn't tell. Don Chargano was telling me that. And I found out the hard way a couple of times way back in the days, man, when I fought on fight cards. And, I was kind of like shocked. Like, where the hell's everybody at? Nobody's fucking spending money on boxing during the holidays, especially nowadays, man, with no inflation. When everybody's budgets are real tight. And they ain't got that extra, discretionary income to buy stuff. So, and you think they're going to spend it on fucking boxing? Nah, it was that way back in the days, man, when boxing was real popular. December is the worst month to do boxing. When you come back in January, it's not that good because everybody's broke. Around February, March, and it starts picking up. Usually that's when the trend starts picking up. But in December, it's the worst time to do boxing. And, Ryan Garcia coming back after that fucking joke of a performance he put in with Tank, and he quit like a bitch. And, it turned off a lot of people. He lost just like Shakir the other night when he that performance he put on and everything. And he don't think it affects his career, putting on a performance like that on, and how it, affects boxing more importantly, okay? And what the image it gets out to people like, man, this fucking sport sucks. They want to see fights. They don't want to see two guys running around the ring. And Garcia last night, it was nothing special. He was just moving around the ring. You wait till he caught that guy, and he caught him with that counter left hook. Didn't even hurt the guy that bad. That guy took a knee. Didn't even want to get up. That no balls motherfucker, man. He didn't have no competitive fire in his heart to continue to battle back. I've seen a guy's hurt a lot worse, but that's what these motherfuckers are nowadays, man. They taste a little adversity. They get punched in the mouth a little, and they're ready to wave the white flag. They ain't got that fucking fire in them. Okay, they ain't got that. They ain't got that heart. To battle on when it gets tough in the ring. They taste a little adversity. They're ready to throw the towel in, man. You know what I mean? And that Duarte, you see him on all over Instagram doing all that strength and conditioning bullshit. That's all it is. It's all fucking bullshit. Like Devin Haney. That shit don't teach you how to fight. that doesn't teach you heart. It doesn't teach you how to have a big set of balls when you get in that ring. And that Duarte, fucking joke, man. A fucking joke. A half-ass performance. As soon as he gets hurt, you know what I mean? You know, he didn't have that competitive. He ain't a resilient competitor. He doesn't have he doesn't have a high degree of mental intestinal fortitude to battle back. And you know what? Mexican fighters, you know, from here in Mexico, they usually have that. But these fighters nowadays, man, fucking joke. These motherfuckers ain't got no balls and they ain't got no heart to battle back when things get a little tough in there. They taste a little adversity. You know, they're ready to wave that white towel, man. Fuck these guys, man. It's just, man, this what I got a bad attitude about the sport, man. You know what I mean? It never used to be like that, man. When I grew up in the 80s, they had fights on mainstream TV every week. You know what I mean? CBS, NBC, ABC. And when you saw fights, man, guys were in competitive matchups, man. When they did get hurt, they battled back. Okay? They battled back. And, you know, the ebb and flow of the fight would go back and forth. I mean, ebb and flow, the momentum of the fight would go back and forth between two guys. That's a battle of two competitive, resilient fighters. You don't see that shit nowadays, man. These motherfuckers, man, one thing I tell my fighters, you get the fuck off social media. When you're getting ready for a fight, you get off that shit. Okay? I'll post some shit on Instagram once in a while, but when it's getting closer to the fight, I don't post none of this shit. I don't promote the motherfucking fight. You know what I mean? I just zoom, I focus on what we got to do to win the fight, and I don't, we're gonna do this, we're gonna win, and fuck all that shit, man. That's all bullshit. And that's one thing I noticed about this social media era we live in. These motherfucking fighters, they get all over this and that. Then once it's time to step up to fight, they get in there. They, you know what I mean? They fold like a little bitch. As soon as it gets a little tough in there, they get hit in the mouth and they taste a little adversity. They want to quit. They ain't got that fucking heart, that competitive fire in them like they used to, man. And that's what Ryan Garcia, when he fought Tank and he got hit barely with a bullshit body shot. You watch, I saw that 10 times. Bullshit body shot. He went down, looked at the ref. What the fuck is that? When the guy, you get $30 million for the fight, you expect him to give a $30 million performance, not fucking quit. These fucking fighters are a joke nowadays, man. I'm not saying all of them. A good majority of them are, man. They ain't got no fucking balls.
Yeah, you know what, Coach? It almost seems when their business-like mentality these days, this sense of entitlement, and what are they giving up for it? What are they giving the fans in exchange? And all the while, guys like Teofimo Lopez, they expect, someone to open up the bank vault in exchange for a half-hearted effort.
You know what? When's the last time you saw Teofimo? When he beat Josh Taylor in June?
Josh Taylor, yep.
And that was his only performance of the year?
Yep.
And he'll come around when he's broke. Okay, he'll be wanting to fight again. All right, you know.
Well, I tell you what, speaking of which, though, Oscar Duarte. And once again, I thought he did a decent job of cutting off the ring, but he wasn't throwing any punches, smothering his offense most of the time. But he did a good job of taking some of Ryan's best shots. And this is what he had to say in a post-fight press conference. I felt like it was unfair. I beat the count. It wasn't fair that he didn't let me continue, the referee in charge. I just hope to meet Ryan again and we can get our revenge. What are the chances of that happening, Coach?
That delusional motherfucker. Just take your pay to enjoy your Christmas, you stupid bitch. Look, when you get knocked down, man, you don't get up at the count of 9. The most, you don't get up the count of 9. You get up at the count of 8, the most. Okay, all right. You get up at the count of 8. Okay, then you give that look into the ref's eye. Yeah, I'm all right. I want to continue. Okay, but you can see that he got up at count of 9 when the ref was about to go to 10, and he looked in his eyes like, fuck that Duarte, man. Yeah, he fuck. You know what I mean? He didn't show that competitive fire to change the momentum after he got knocked down. Man, where are all these real fighters out there, man? Like guys like Arturo Gatti, Diego Corrales, Mickey Ward, Manuel Gustis, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, there's some, where are these real fighters nowadays, man? There's none.
Yep.
I mean, come on. There's no real fucking pit bulls out there. Guys that are willing, hey, fight to that death. You know what I mean? They're businessmen. They're not fighters, okay? And the great sport of boxing, if you go back all the way in history, guys all the way back in the 40s, the 50s, they were fucking fighters. 60s, 70s. When I started following it as a kid with Muhammad Ali, I got interested in boxing because of Muhammad Ali. Then in the 80s, when I got into this shit, they were fighters, man. They were fighters. You know what I mean? Then the 90s, 2000, it started going downhill. Then the 2010s, the 20s, it started, the businessman attitude started happening. That culture of the businessman from Floyd Mayweather and that piece of shit Al Heyman started being pervasive. Now we're in the 2020s and these bitch ass motherfuckers, man. You know what I mean? They're half-ass performances and they call themselves fighters. Guys like Shakir and Ryan, all these, man, come on, man. And they act like they don't care. They got their check. But man, the way you punish these motherfuckers, okay? Especially a guy like Shakir, who ain't no big ticket seller. You cut his purse, okay? And you put him on the shelf. You know what I mean? You got to teach these guys a lesson, man. And not like Teofimo, he's demanding all that money. Okay, put him on the shelf. That's all. Let him shop himself around. And, if you could get someone to pay him his outrageous demands, and them stupid motherfuckers deserve to get screwed over. But,
I tell you what, Coach, you beat us to it. Here we go.
Hey, we ain't ducking and dodging nobody. It's time for Fact or Fiction.
We're jumping to number 6, guys, or number 4. Bob Arum will give Teofimo Lopez the Mikey Garcia treatment and put him on ice for the remainder of his contract with Top Rank. Fact or fiction?
Knowing Arum right now, he'll do it, man. He's Arum's 92. He's fed up with these motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. Arum's an old school promoter, man. He ain't got time to take bullshit no more, man. And I guarantee he's not, even though he's 92, made millions, he's not going to put his company in position to lose more money when you get this motherfucker Lopez, if you give in to Lopez and his outrageous demands, fuck him, man. I'd sit him. And guess what? You give him a fight, he turns it down. You know what I mean?
Well, I will say this, Coach. This is what I know to be true. Right? I was told that he wasn't only offered $1.5 million in terms of a guarantee. Keep in mind, guys, the days of the $5-6 million guarantee are long gone, guys. Especially with the budget cuts right now that Top Rank is experiencing with ESPN and Disney. Now, he was offered, from what I was told from Top Rank brass, $1.5 million and 70% of his side of the take from a pay-per-view with Ryan Garcia. With Bob Arum and Top Rank only getting 30%, according to their contract, if he fights on another promoter's fight card. Right? That's it. Yeah. So 1.5 and 70%, which means he probably would have taken home a healthy $6-7 million at least. And this guy is saying that, they don't want to give him what he deserves. Coach?
He's delusional, man. Fuck Teofimo Lopez. He can sit his ass on the sideline. I don't give a fuck about the motherfucker. If he don't want to fight no more, no big deal. Boxing's going to move on. There's going to be, like I said, new blood's always coming into boxing. Well, I can't get too excited about that. All these motherfucking guys, new guys that are coming into boxing, they can't fight. You know what I mean? So, and I don't think a lot of these young kids coming in got this. They ain't got no balls. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Entitlement bitches. That's what I call a lot of these new fighters, man. They ain't hungry. They don't know what fucking poor and hungry is and suffering is. Fuck them, And to me, when you think boxing's down to 350,000 hardcore fans in the States, Well, when I got in this shit, there were millions of hardcore boxing fans. Now it's down to 350,000. What does that say? The fucking sport's dying. Why is the sport dying? You got to ask yourself why. It's because of shit like this. The fucking kids nowadays, man, they're killing the sport, man. And the TV networks are allowing this shit. They need to put their fucking foot down and tell them, no, this is it. If you don't like it, fuck it. You know what I mean?
Well, those days are coming very, very quickly, Coach.
Hopefully.
Nope, they are. They're here. Okay, the days of the inflated purses are long gone. Guys, the gravy train has come to a screeching halt. Once again, Dave Benavidez and the diehard fans have spoken. They would rather steal this shit rather than pay for a pay-per-view, even with a decent undercard. 62,000 purchases, Coach, for Benavidez Andrade. Are you surprised?
No. What did I say, Joe? Remember last week on the show, you announced 75,000. I go, oh shit, that's good. I thought it would be 60,000. I was off 2,000. Remember that, Joe?
Yep.
I said this should do like 50 to 60. Then when you announced it was 75, I was like shocked. I was like, oh, that's good. 15,000 more than I thought. But yeah, I guess I was right when you found out the Revive editions.
Yep.
I'm pretty good at predicting this shit, man. I'm pretty.
You're excellent. You're the best in the business. Let's go back to Ryan Garcia versus that fight card. We'll get to the co-main event in just a bit.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Float Schofield from San Antonio, Texas, scores an emphatic first round knockout over the gentleman who just mowed my grass last week, and he knocks him down 4 times in the first round. Yeah. So, fact or fiction, Coach? Ryan Garcia and Floyd Schofield Jr. are Edgar Berlanga Part 1 and 2.
The way they're getting matched, the way their fights are so easy early on in their career. Yeah. Ryan Garcia, Omar Figueroa. Shit. There's other ones that are out there, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. You need look, man, he got another easy win. And I'm saying to myself, man, they're building this guy up like he's the next fucking superstar in boxing. Him and his goofball dad. You know what I mean? Who does his Instagram like he's some fucking, you know what I mean? They're doing all that strength and conditioning shit and all that fancy stuff on Instagram. You know what I mean? It's all bullshit. You know what I mean? I want to see him in a tough fight. And the way you develop fighters is you give fighters the opponents that are going to give them some good professional resistance. Then you'll start finding out about the guy, man. But, you give him easy, like top rank when Berlanga was going through all the knockouts. Bruce Trapper was worried. He was like, man, yeah. I talked to him one time, we were messaging each other. He told me, yeah, I'm worried. You never know. And he goes, man, this guy's not getting in the rounds he needs to develop as a fighter. You don't know you don't know what's going to happen down the road. Don Charganotis told me that too, man. These quick knockouts, he used to shake his head like, man, it's not good, man. He goes, not only good for boxing, it's not good for boxing, man. It's bullshit when people see them quick knockouts. Number 2, it's not good for the kid's career down the road. Okay, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see the flaws in his. If he keeps getting these fucking easy fights like he's doing, you're gonna see the flaws in his game when he fights a real competitor out there. Okay. Now, I'm not sold on that motherfucker, man. I'm not sold on that. I ain't sold on him. I think he's a lot more flash than he is substance. But we'll see. You see him on Instagram with his goofball dad doing all this shit and this and that, trying to create that persona. Some bullshit. I see right through that fucking shit. You know what I mean? I want to see him. And that guy last night was a joke. As soon as he hit him, he went down. But that's not a fighter. That's not the type of opponent you need to get that seasoning under your belt, to go up the ladder. Okay, I can see he's fighting guys like that, like my guys. We're coming up, we're fighting chumps like that off TV in these little club shows in Mexico when there's no money. But when you're fighting on a big stage, the co-main event on the zone, and you show that shit, it's not good. It's not good for the fans out there, man. They see the they saw the number. But in real boxing, if you're a real boxing person, you're like, man, you know, that doesn't look good. That's just another fight. You don't know where your fighter's at. You gotta put him in a fight where his opponent's gonna give him some professional rounds. Okay. And then you'll see, how he's gonna, where he's at in his career. You know what I mean? If he has the goods or not, and everything. And him and his dad talking all that shit. We want Keyshawn. Keyshawn a bitch slap you, boy. You need to shut the fuck up and stand in your place. You're not on Keyshawn's level. He'll bitch slap your ass, man. That's a totally different level. You're talking about a guy with a huge amateur background, okay? Behind him, Olympic pedigree and all that stuff, and a guy who's fought in tough guys. Because Brad Duman, the best matchmaker in boxing, he put him in with some good opponents, okay, that gave him them quality rounds that Keyshawn needed to test himself, okay, test himself being in the ring, thinking there, figure out, adjust, and adapt, okay, to these tougher opponents that are fighting him, that are giving you that professional resistance. Okay, that's what you do when you fight these guys that are in front of you, that you give them you hit them with your best shots, but they're not going nowhere. They're fighting back. Okay, then you see the fighter and how he adjusts, how he makes his adjustments. You see where his skill sets are, the level of his skill sets are. You see what he's missing. If he's not doing this, he's not doing that. You see his defense. Okay, if his defense is good, if his defense ain't bad, if his defense, they need to work on certain things on his defense. You see all this stuff when you fight competitive, resilient fighters. Okay, different levels. Okay, and they're giving you them good quality rounds. You're learning your craft. You're cultivating your craft, because all this stuff comes out in the fight. Okay, it comes out in sparring usually. You'll see it in sparring when they're deficient in certain areas. Now, if you don't correct those mistakes in sparring, I guarantee you're going to take it to the fight. Okay, you're going to. Chuck Noll, Hall of Fame football coach, Pittsburgh Steelers, 4-time Super Bowl champion. He always said, if you don't do it in practice, you're not going to do it in the game. Same thing in boxing. If you don't do it in the gym, in practice, in training, you're not going to do it in the fight. So, like I said, but when you go out there and you smash these motherfuckers in one round, and the guy he's fighting gave him zero resistance, quality was just fucking terrible. Okay, as soon as Floyd hit him, he went down 4 times. That doesn't tell me much about the kid, man. You know what I mean? I'm not sold on that motherfucker, man, because I know I've seen a lot of these hype jobs over the years. When it comes down, when they gotta fight somebody, different story.
Yep, unless you're able to go rounds, promoters really don't know if they have Kimbo Slice or Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it, guys. And let's get back to the fight card. Now, it all started off with Golden Boy's newest assessment or acclamation from Houston, Texas. Darius Fulgham made his 168-pound debut fighting Pacino Hill. Coach, what did you think of Darius Fulgham? Same thing?
Fucking garbage opponent, man.
Yep.
Guy didn't even try to fight back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't know. The kid, you can see that, whatever that guy's name, Fulgham, you can see his athletic talent and gifts, but when you got a guy that's not fighting back, come on, man. Yeah.
Well, look. I know for a fact that Golden Boy, they wanted to pair him up against Joe James, G Funky's rising super middleweight and middleweight fighter. But Fulgham's camp said no, not in our homecoming, not in front of our hometown fans in Houston. So they got, Pacino Hill. So didn't show much, huh, Gogi?
Yeah.
Yeah. And next up on the card was a return of Sugar Shane Mosley Jr. fighting Joshua Conley. I'm sorry, Coach. Shane, as much as I love the kid, just doesn't know how to fight, does he?
It was a miserable fight, man. You know what? I turned it off until the fights were so disappointing. I was watching Michigan and Iowa for the
Oh yeah.
Big Ten championship. I was watching more of that than these fucking fights, man. That was giving me more entertainment value, man. I didn't
Yep.
see that
Yep.
shit. The
There
two
it is.
fights I
And
wanted to see, the two fights that mainly Schofield. I want to see his development, but I knew that Turdy was fighting. I knew this dude wasn't going to give him shit. So I expected that to happen, And the main event, Garcia weighed 143. I don't know if he can make 140, Joe.
Well, I tell you what, that's a problem. And once again, guys, I got the skinny. From what I was told, Bernard Hopkins, he made that, that comment because they found out. And if you notice, and you're in the Houston area, tickets, they went on BOGO, buy one, get one, during fight week because ticket sales were very disappointing. And so Bernard Hopkins made that comment. Well, we'll have to see. It's a fight-by-fight assessment. Will determine his future after this fight. Trying to generate interest instead of, the reality, it being somewhat of a sparring session, right? So what does Ryan Garcia do? Receiving this terrible advice from Urban Advisors. He starts getting pissed off, and he starts mouthing off to Bernard Hopkins as well as Oscar De La Hoya. Coach, what are your thoughts? And once again, they told him behind the scenes, hey, you overreacted. You misunderstood. Quit listening to this person who's trying to create this dissension. We're on your side. What's best for you is obviously best for us. This is why he changed his tune and was very, buddy again with Oscar and company after the fight. Coach Gogi, is this becoming a huge problem? Not only inflated purses, but these guys listening to idiots who don't know anything about the business.
That's always been in boxing, man. Always been in boxing. It's never going to change.
How easy is it to create a disgruntled fighter, sir?
Easy. All you got to do is have somebody in your fighter's camp that don't know shit about boxing. That's in good with the fighter. Fighters are about the dumbest motherfuckers out there. They'll believe anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So anyway, he comes out, tries to lay the wood to Oscar Duarte. Oscar seems to have a good chin, covers up well, cutting off the ring. What did you think about Ryan Garcia unwisely? I don't even want to call it a shell defense. It looked like he was headed for the exit door, Gogi, at times, turning his entire back. And Emmanuel Stewart always used to tell me this. Hey, if you don't want my fighter to hit you there, quit showing it to him. Right?
I don't know. That's something he just picked up recently because he never did that before, man. But he's a novice at doing it. You can see he's not proficient in that skill set, that advanced skill set. And another reason why he's not proficient, he don't know how to counter off it. He just does that for just defensive movers. As a defensive maneuver to not get hit. He'll get in that little shoulder roll position where it eliminates a lot of targets of your opponent to hit. Like Duarte, when he got inside Duarte, he couldn't hit him. He couldn't hit him with the right hand. He couldn't hit him with that hook to the body. So he just did it more for self-preservation instead of tactics and setting traps. Like, come at me, I'm a block and roll. Okay, block and roll and counter back. You know what I mean? He doesn't counter out that Philly shell, and he doesn't do that Philly shell. What do you call it? He's not experienced enough. You could tell he's not. That comfort level is not high. When he gets in that Philly shell, he's learning it. That's something he just picked up. He's learning, and it takes a while to learn. But he's not proficient in it because he can't counter off it. He can't roll and counter off it. Roll, counter off it. Set traps. I like that. You let the fighter throw punches at you, and you blocking and catching. He ain't hitting you. Then all of a sudden he tries again, and that's when you start countering. He can't. He doesn't know how to counter, so he hasn't mastered that skill set. Floyd Mayweather always told me, that Philly shell don't mean shit if you can't counter off it. It's not as effective. Okay, but when you start countering off that Philly shell, fuck that Philly shell. I call it the shoulder roll. All right,
Yeah.
Fuck the Philly. Once you start countering off that shoulder roll, you know what I mean? You start making the guy pay, then it becomes effective. You start putting thoughts in your opponent's head about throwing punches at you. But if you're not countering off that shoulder roll and you're just using it for self-preservation and to avoid getting hit by punches, you know what I mean? That means the opponent is just going to keep trying to hit you because you haven't discouraged them by countering back. Once you start nailing them with them sharp counters off that shoulder roll, you know what I mean? And you start hurting them, he'll
shuts down their offense.
And as the fight goes on and you keep hitting them off them roll counters and his face starts getting busted up, he'll slow down and he'll start having second thoughts about trying to throw punches at you when you get in that shoulder roll position. But he don't know how to counter off it, man. I could tell then and there. He just right here, uncomfortable, hasn't mastered the skills. It takes a while, man. And it takes a trainer that knows what he's doing to develop that skill set in you if you got the ability. From what I've seen, Ryan, he does have the, he's an athletically talented kid. He's got quick hands, sharp, explosive, good reflexes. And you can see he has some agility in his upper body to, lean back away from those punches at a 45-degree angle. But he doesn't know how to counter off that Philly roll. If he learned how to counter off that, fuck that Philly roll. If he learned how to counter off that shoulder roll, he'd be it'd take his game to the next level because now he's developed a skill set, another skill set. But he's still green and raw, and it takes a long time to perfect that. Yeah. A lot of time in the gym, in the training, going through repetitions when you're shadow boxing, when you're sparring, hitting the pads or whatever, and just perfecting that, man. Yeah, it's about repetition, doing it the right way, doing the correct way on a consistent basis. Like I said, repetition. What do you call it? Repetition creates habits. Habits create instincts. It starts becoming instinctive to you, where you don't even have to think no more. But right now, he's a pure novice at that.
Yep, and unfortunately, because of the money that he's demanding, he's not going to get very many soft touches like he did last night. Well, maybe not, because he called out, not Subriel Matias, not the winner of Haney Prograis. Well, he called out Rolly Romero, the WBA title holder at 140, if you want to call him that. Coach, is it safe to say the first guy that lands the big shot is going to win that fight?
That's all it is, man. Both guys are good punchers, and whoever hits each other first probably will win the fight because the other one ain't got the balls to, battle back. I say Rolly got a little bit bigger balls than Ryan. Well, if you hit Ryan right, he ain't gonna battle back. He'll quit. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I tell you Joe, what. Can he make 140? The motherfucker, they put this fight at 143. That's a high catch weight. It's usually a catch weight 140 plus 141. But they 143, man. You know what I mean? To me, Garcia, he's a kid. Between fights, he'll blow up to 170 pounds, 65, 70. So he's got to shrink himself that much to make 140. And as his body gets older, his metabolism slows down. So basically, it's going to be harder for him to make the weight. So can he make 140? We'll see. If not, he's going to have to go into the welterweight division.
Yep. Well, from what I was told, it's him, being miserable during fight week, trying to cut weight. And they're in misery when they're trying to kill themselves to make weight. Couple that with his immaturity and lack of understanding of the business. Yeah, that's why you got that absurd final press conference and his just childlike statements towards two all-time greats in Bernard Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya.
He's a fucking idiot. That's what I think about that immature, dumb shit. He's a fucking idiot, like a lot of these fighters are nowadays.
Well, I tell you what, is it just a product of being in December? Or, Coach, let's go to the main event, the title. Is Ryan still a big-time attraction? Or is he suffering from the fallout of his, quitting like a dog in the perceived or in the perception of many against Tank Davis?
So anytime you put on a performance like that and you quit, there's a fallout. Your marketability doesn't go up to the next level. Your popularity doesn't go to the next level. You lose a lot of fans when you put on a performance like that and quit.
Yep.
Like Shakir, it turned off a lot of people, that motherfucker. He just don't understand how many people it turned off and how it hurt boxing. And because boxing right now is a dying sport, and he's just injecting more poison with that type of performance into the sport. Then you get Ryan Garcia, who quit against Tank Davis with a bitch ass, got hit with a bitch ass body shot. He quit. So, you know what I mean? It's it doesn't make your popularity go, but it makes it go down a lot, man. Look, if he would, if he was a hot commodity, they would have sold the place out in advance. Okay, coming off that performance, but he ain't a hot commodity, man. You know what I mean? He's gonna, he's just a fucking, he's just an Instagram star, social media star. That's all he is.
Well, I tell you what, it was somewhat of a dubious event. And last night, DAZN announced that, yes, for January 27th, Jaime Munguia, even though he's risking a $6 million payday, he's going to be back in the ring facing a tough piece of meat like John Ryder. So fact or fiction, coach, Jaime Munguia will lose to John Ryder on January 27th, then blow his $6 million payday with Canelo on Cinco de Mayo weekend 2024. Fact or fiction?
I don't think so. I think he'll, he's training with Freddie right now, Roach. So, it ain't gonna help him in his defense. He'll still get hit a lot. You know what I mean? It'll be a good fight because Munguia, he's a aggressive, he's an aggressive, a mentally aggressive, physically minded type of fighter who likes to, he likes to fight. He likes to put his combinations together, and he does it in a consistent basis, round after round after round. But guess what? He gets hit with the same kind of shit he's hitting his opponent with. That's what makes the fights intriguing. You know what I mean? He gets hit back, with the same type of hard punches. So, it's a good little fight. It's a good fight for Jaime.
Well,
you know what I mean?
What they're banking on the idea that John Ryder took enough collateral damage in his last fight against Canelo that he's not going to be the same fighter. Also, they're also banking on the idea that John Ryder, well, he's not the biggest puncher at 68, even though he's one of the toughest fighters in that division. We'll see what happens, guys. Anything can and often does happen in the theater of the unexpected. That is boxing. Guys, before we move forward, let's say hello to our dear friends in the chat. Let's start with Big Luke, my brother. He says, well, going by my lawn care, a guy who just mowed my grass last week. Easiest honest lawn care, guys, please. Big Luke, I couldn't afford you, brother. My yard isn't big enough for those Ryder lawnmowers. Anyway, I want to give a big shout out to my brother, Outlaw, JoJo and Coach. Hey, brother, thank you for always supporting the coach on this beautiful Sunday. Also, my brother, Hyphy, has Ryan, coach. Has he regressed over his last couple of fights, or is he just not progressing at all?
Motherfucker, he hasn't shown me shit. Only thing he's shown me is from his natural God-given gifts, which is he's got fast hands, sharp counter puncher, and he's got some pop in them punches. That's it. And that's it. That's it.
So he hasn't digressed or he hasn't progressed, right? Outlaw says also, Coach, crowds seem to be on Duarte's side, not Ryan. Yeah, doesn't seem like he's liked very much by the Mexicanos in South Texas. Yeah,
he quit his last fight. He quit his last fight. That turns a lot of Mexican fans off when you quit like that.
Yep, and that's it. True words were never spoken. Also, my brother, Rodney Green, guys, and that brings us, guys, if you're looking for a home in the South Texas area, work with the best. Work with Rod Vachon Holdings, guys. Nothing but the best. Thank you, Mr. Green, for being a part of the team. We love you, brother. Also, my brother, Toby Bartlett from across the pond. Salute Joe, Coach Gogi in the chat. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you're ready for a day of reckoning on the 23rd, which is going to be offered in the States. Thank you very much, DAZN, for paying for that steep licensing fee and getting prepared to lose your ass on another pay-per-view in December. But it's only going to be $40 if you guys are already subscribed to DAZN. How do you like that? So please subscribe. Toby Bartlett says, yep, Coach Gogi's right. Fights and fighters were much better back in the 80s when I started watching boxing. Amen to that. And Coach Gogi, speaking of which, speaking of which, it was the 23-year anniversary this past Saturday of Felix Trinidad versus Fernando Ferocious Vargas.
Ooh, that was a good fight.
Well, how was that fight in comparison? You don't see fights like that anymore, Coach.
Nah, fuck no. Are you kidding me? These fighters nowadays ain't got the balls to put themselves in to fight through those type of circumstances. Them fighters nowadays ain't got the balls to fight through those type of adversities. Them two guys went to that night, Trinidad and Vargas.
Yep. Yeah. Guys, and we also want to give a big shout out to our brother Sid UK. He says, yes, Oscar isn't to blame. Ryan is deluded and talks about fighting the best, but it's all talk. Tank fight, he gave up on him. Right now, his best chance is Rolly Romero. Otherwise, he's not really going to be a champ at 140. Coach Gogi, how does the fight play out between Subriel Matias and Ryan Garcia?
Well, Subriel will start off slow, like it'd be just like that Taliban, that jihadist he fought. Ergashev, yeah. He'll start off slow. Matias likes to, feel his opponent out, gauge his speed, figure out what he's trying to do. Then as the fight goes on, if Matias doesn't get hurt by Garcia, he'll walk right through Garcia. He'll walk right through him. You know what I mean? You just can't pass some early rounds when Garcia is fast and sharp and he hits. So the other guy can punch just as good as Garcia. Look what Sabritas did. He walked right through that fucking Taliban. And he'll do the same thing to that bitch-ass Garcia. And the fight will get tough. And they'll call it after 4 or 5 rounds because Garcia ain't got the skill sets to deal with this pit bull, Matias. You know what I mean?
Yeah, guys, if you thought he was turning his back on Duarte, he'd be turning all the way around and ducking through the ropes like Floyd Jr. against Ricky Hatton. Guys, I want to welcome G Funky Boxing. Greetings to you, my friend. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to our brother G Funky Boxing and join us tomorrow as we'll speak to Rick Glazier about those dismal pay-per-view numbers and an idea of what to expect. Well, on December 9th, this Saturday. Sid UK, I agree. Coach, Virgil Ortiz is a real fighter, but his health issues hold him back. Hope he gets his health 100%. Otherwise, these so-called boxers carry handbags and pout at $1 million paydays. I can't stand it, Gogi. I can't stand it. It's ruining our beloved boxing.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. And the bringer. He said, Francis Ngannou here. I'll whoop all yous. And G Funky, see? He says his fighter, Joe Sean James, was ready to sign the contract. I remember that. Yep. And unfortunately, what's his name? Darius Fulgham said, nope, none of that. None of that when I'm trying to make my Golden Boy debut in my homecoming. Yeah. Outlaw says, that was a back roll Ryan was doing. Daddy Drew, welcome to the show. He says Garcia made his money. Good for him. He's just not top tier. And he says Rolly stops Ryan. Coach Gogi, that very well may happen if he gets there first.
Yeah, but Rolly can't fight either. So it'll be a good fight. It'll be a good fight because both guys can't fight.
Yep. And both guys are just as flawed, and they both pack a punch. My guess is, though, they'll be waiting on one another and both too respectful of their power. It's going to be a boring fight. Anyway, want to welcome Hands of Stone. Hit the like and subscribe. Yes, sir. And he says, any promotional companies you guys recommend? Well, I tell you what, right now, AAA Promotions in South Park Boxing, We're staging a big show in downtown San Antonio, Texas. I'm going to be making the call, guys. I will give you guys the link to anyone outside of San Antonio, Texas and South Texas. If you can't make the trip, I'll be calling the action live worldwide on the web. Y'all put the link and the feed on my channel. So please stay tuned for that, guys. Thank you very much. And he says, greetings, Coach Gogi. Yes, sir. I tell you what, he is the very best now, isn't he? Coach Gogi, best eyes in the business, and Sly Tendency recognizes it. He says, well, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, shout out to legendary coach James Mother Effin Gogi. Woo! You and Joe are making me money hand over fist with these bets. The chat needs to break bread.
Good for you, Sly. Good for
Thank you, my friend. God bless you, brother.
Good for you. Good for you. You took my advice and weren't a troll like these other motherfuckers and told me I was wrong when they thought Andre was going to beat Benavidez. Give me a fucking break, man. I've been doing this too long. And I can see, the outcome of the fight and how it's going to play out and everything and the results. You know what I mean?
Well, I will say this, though. As much as we'd like this to be a review or a preview of this Saturday night's big main event from San Francisco on DAZN, well, Coach Gogi, you're just not feeling it, are you?
About what? Nah, fuck. Fuck it. After that fight last night, give me a sour, what do you call it? A sour taste in my mouth, man. This sport I used to love. I used to get excited after great matches because they were good, competitive fights between two resilient warriors. Shit you seen last night, man. Fucking joke, man. Yeah, that's why I got a bad attitude towards boxing now, man. Give me a reason to have a good attitude from the shit I've been watching lately, huh? Give me a good reason to get me excited. There ain't none, man. There ain't no fucking.
Well, this isn't going to give you a warm fuzzy either, brother. Number 5, Haney versus Prograis will only attract 30,000 pay-per-view purchases on December 9th. This is on
right.
pay-per-view, Coach?
That's around right. Who the fuck cares about both them clowns? You know what I mean? Over them, their ego, their overinflated ego on what they think they're worth. Fuck both of them. Get your last payday because gravy train ends. Okay, the gravy train ends for both. The gravy train ends for both of you bitches. And if in the future, if somebody pays you this kind of money, hey man, let them lose money. Let them fucking let them take it. Let them take them financial hits, man. Fuck both of them, man. I can't.
Yep. Coach Gogi, fact or fiction, both Regis Prograis as well as Devin Haney will be next year's Dimitri Bivol and have a hard time landing a meaningful fight because of inflated purses. Fact or fiction?
Usually happens. You know what I mean? When you're getting this amount of money, then all of a sudden, the money ain't there no more, and they offer you this. It hurts your ego. You're like, oh. And what do? You're like that. What's that guy? Teofimo. And you turn it down and you don't fight. And how many fights has he had the last 3 years, Joe? 4 fights in 3 years. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah, that's really a great way to build his marketability and his persona by fighting four times in 3 years. Nobody fucking cares about that kid. After he fights, they forget about him and he's gone. He's out of the public's conscious, the mainstream conscious. Okay. He doesn't build a mainstream fan base. He just stays with the 350,000 hardcore fans we got in the United States, which is a fucking absolute joke.
Oh, geez. Yeah, well, I will say this, though. A bonus comment because of your awesome super chat. Thank you, Sly. He says, Coach Gogi, even the bookie I go to laughed when I said Benavidez stoppage by round 6. He laughed. He said, you don't know much about the sport, Sly. LOL. I love it. They're sucking lemons now. It pays to listen to Coach Gogi, guys. Best eyes in the business. I swear by it.
I picked round 7 because I thought it would take time for Benavidez to get that distance closed and to break him down before he stops him. But the second round, I already saw, hey, man, he already got that distance he wanted. He already got that range he wanted to put his combinations together effectively. So it's about, he broke, I thought it'd be 7-10. He broke him down in 6. So I was off by a round. But I knew he was going to knock that bitch out because that bitch doesn't have the skill sets to fight in the trenches where Benavidez is going to take the fight to. Okay? He doesn't have the inside. He's very deficient. He has no inside fighting, inside phone booth. He has no inside phone booth skills, man to man, trench warfare skills in the phone booth to battle. What does he do? Dimitri, when he gets in the pocket, he no fundamentals. Okay, how to fight in the pocket, no defense, how to defend himself, and definitely no offense, and how to throw them short, compact punches, the short, compact combinations, up and down, down and up, at an angle, stepping at angles, how the holding your ground in the pocket, so you don't get pushed back. Okay, having the correct fundamental stance where you could block those punches effectively and not get hit by him, and catch and counter and shit like that. He doesn't have the fundamental skill sets that Andre to fight in the pocket. Totally deficient. Why? He never was taught. The motherfucker's been fighting all these years, and he just was taught to fight at range and distance, long or medium. But he never was taught when the fight transfers from range into the pocket. He never was taught man-to-man combat in the phone booth. Trench warfare, I call it. He doesn't have the trench warfare skills to fight. Like I said, he has no idea, no fundamentals. And like when you get in the pocket, okay, it's a different skill set you got to use. You're not at range and distance where you could, work off your jab effectively to set up your, that left hand of his, to set up your combinations, then step around them. In the phone booth, you ain't got no room. Okay, that space and distance is gone. Okay, the ability to throw punches at range and distance is gone. So you're right here in the pocket. So your skill set's got to change. Okay, now if you got the skill sets, you'll know how to get the correct fundamental stance in the pocket. You'll know how to defend yourself against those punches, how to block them, how to parry them, how to slip. The punches just slightly, little bit. How to roll with the punches when you get hit instead of taking them flush. Just roll with them. You know what I mean? All this shit I learned from Roberto Duran. Okay, back in the days, a masterful inside defensive fighter, very underrated. Motherfuckers nowadays, when they think of Duran, they just think of a monster who could knock you out, who was just a beast in the ring. But they don't see all the other skill sets I see, like his inside fighting skills, his defensive skills in the pocket, how when you hit him with the shot, how he rolls with the punch. Watch Davey Moore when he fought Davey Moore. But that's when I started learning all that shit about rolling with the punches, leaning back from the punches, blocking punches. Like every time Davey Moore, a lot of times in the pocket, Davey Moore threw that right hand, Duran just leaned back and blocked it with his lead shoulder, just like boom. Man, that's advanced shit. Okay, you got to be comfortable in the pocket to do that. Especially Duran, he had his hands low, and his chin was open for that right hand. But Duran didn't care. He knew when you threw that right hand, he was going to roll with it. He knew when you threw that right hand, he was going to lean back at a 45-degree angle and block it with his lead shoulder of his. See, this is all world-class shit. The same. There's basic fundamental shit you got to learn to fight in the pocket, and this is advanced shit, man. About rolling, protecting that, keeping that chin tucked in right here under your lead shoulder, so you don't get hit by that right hand. Your chin is not exposed. Your ability to, to catch like Duran used to do, roll with the punch, lean back. Man, that's fucking. You stand there in front of the motherfucker you're fighting, and you have your hands like right here, and you can, and you can block punches with that shoulder. You can roll, you can catch, or you could roll with a punch with your chin. With your when he hits you, you could roll like that. That's advanced shit. Guys like Tony, guys like Duran can do that shit. Okay, but that's advanced stuff. But the basic stuff, about getting in the pocket, keeping them hands up nice and tight. Don't keep a wide opening. It's not about just keeping your fucking hands up like this because your face is still going to be exposed. Them punches are still going to go through your gloves. It's about how you place your gloves on your face, making it like I said, closing it in and making it a tight defense to prevent those punches from going through your gloves and blocking them with the side of your gloves. Boom, boom, or parry it, parry it, parry it, parry it. You know what I mean? Block. There's a skill. There's fundamentals on knowing how to block punches instead of just keeping your fucking hands up. Nobody teaches it nowadays. You know what I mean? All this stuff. When you saw Andre, he didn't know how to do none of this shit. He had no fucking idea. Him and that Taliban, they had no idea when the fight got in the trenches. They had no idea on how to defend themselves against their opponent when the fight got right here in the phone booth. They had no idea. And you got to learn all this stuff, man. And you learn it in the gym. And if you got a coach that knows how to teach you this shit, then you develop these skill sets. Okay. Then when you go in a fight, you're prepared. Okay. You're prepared. So when it becomes habit, instinct in the fight where everything just reacts for your blocking, because you take that headgear off, you put on the small gloves, it ain't sparring no more. Okay. It's a fight. But the thing is, at least you were taught the fundamentals on knowing how to defend yourself when the fight gets there. The fighters nowadays, they're bitch asses, especially these guys that are very physically talented from range and distance. And that's all they got. When the fight gets right here, they ain't got shit. They just hope and pray that the fight stays at range and distance all night. But it doesn't happen like that. You're fighting a bad motherfucker like Matias or Benavides that like to put that heat on you. You better know how to handle that heat when it gets in the kitchen. You know what I mean? Or you're gonna be thrown out of it. That heat in the kitchen is gonna be so hot you ain't gonna be able to handle it. You're gonna throw it in. But yeah, that's what do you call it? I gave you a little synopsis on inside fighting, what to look for when you see in the fight. When you see these motherfuckers fight, okay, you'll know if a motherfucker knows how to fight in the pocket. Okay, you'll see his skill level. If he has any, like most of these motherfuckers, they'll just hold and grab all day, smother and tie you up. When he gets in the pocket, he smothers you and ties you up, he ain't got no skill set. When a motherfucker gets in the pocket and you can see he feels uncomfortable, don't know what to do, and doesn't know how to throw the correct punches or doesn't know how to defend himself, he doesn't got any skill sets. But you see a motherfucker very rarely that gets in the pocket, slips inside, and works effectively offensively with them short, compact punches. Then he's got defense. Okay, his coach has taught him one. Or the motherfucker was usually the coach teaches you. Yeah, you gotta, that's a reflection of your coach when you see all that shit.
And there it is, guys. There it is. Master Gogi has spoken. Thank you for the masterclass, sir. And I promise you this, you never saw Roberto Duran use the Ryan Garcia scared shitless shell. But Danny Drew says, got Rougarou, Devin Haney can't crack an egg.
Right.
And G Funky says,
between me and you, fuck both of them. I don't care about the fight.
Oh, geez. He says, over under 50 times, Haney will hold Prograis. I say over, sir. And thank you for joining us, Margie. And Slide Tendency says, I feel like DAZN is promoting Haney versus Prograis pretty well, but that doesn't mean much these days. Look, I will say this, and this is what sucks. Haney, Juice, welcome to the show, sir, and thank you for being a great fan and always supporting every promoter and every fight card in that area. You're a great fan, which we had a million more just like you, sir. He says, Haney, Regis ticket sales have been amazing. The Chase Center is now a boxing venue. It's a damn shame that the network is going to lose her ass and doesn't see any of that.
How many tickets have they sold? I don't hear no buzz about that motherfucking fight.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. It's the week of the fight. But guys, and Dex 1K, thank you for supporting the coach, sir. Guys, unfortunately, I have to call a halt to the bout. Unfortunately, guys, because I'm going to go see with my son the amazing, legendary acoustic guitarist, Tommy Emmanuel, at the Empire Theater. So I do have to skedaddle. But guys, check him out on YouTube. And guys, don't forget to like. Don't forget to tell everyone who's got the best eyes in the business. Coach James Gogi. James, your parting shots for this Sunday night's big show.
Real quick, people want to find out who I like. I like Haney because of his athleticism, his movement. Okay, his quicker hands, sharp counterpuncher, his movement. Okay, that's gonna throw a guy like Regis, a puncher, off who needs to set himself to get into rhythm. Okay, to get any momentum built up. Haney and his movement, his fast, sharp combinations, and you know what I mean. It's just, it's just this type of style. It's hard to fight, man. Especially you got a guy like Regis who wants a guy to be in front, who wants his opponent to be in front of you. Wants his opponent to be in front of him so he could make it an easier fight and just work his combinations and everything. But when you got a guy like Haney that gives you movement and they're probably gonna have a big ring where he can move and he's gonna have that real estate to operate. Yeah. Too much speed, too much athleticism, I think. Well, let's see if he gets hit with a hard shot and gets put on his ass. Let's see. But yeah, I just think Haney, them guys are very careful in who they fight, Joe.
Yep. That's it.
And
that's it. So guys, according to Coach Gogi,
they picked Regis for a reason.
Yep, they saw his last fight. So guys, according to Coach Gogi, betting strategy would be Haney, by decision, straddled with a Rougarou knockout. Safe strategy indeed. Guys, we'll give you the Warwick Boxing Sexy Bet after the weigh-in this Friday night. But that's going to just about do it. Guys, on behalf of, the elite level trainer with the best eyes in the business, Coach James Gogi, I'm Joseph Herron. You've been listening to Warwick Boxing. Have a great week, everybody.
W.A.W Holdings proudly presents Warwick Radio with 5-decade fight trainer, Coach James Gogi.